Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea and today I'm gonna take you to Nepal. I have prepared two recipes for you this time. We don't have any dessert for today, but before we get started, of course, I will give you some cultural background regarding Nepali cuisine. So let's get started. Due to Nepal's position on the map, there is a strong Chinese influence and Indian influence on the Nepali cuisine. What is interesting about Nepali cuisine is the fact that we can distinguish between different cuisines based on ethnicity. So the three biggest cuisines based on ethnicity that we're going to talk about today are the Khas cuisine, the Himalayan cuisine, and the NEWARI cuisine. Obviously there is more than that, but I just decided to talk about these. I'm going to start with the first one. The first one is called this Khas cuisine, as I said earlier. So this is the cuisine which is strongly influenced by the Indian cuisine. The standard meal for this type of cuisine is called as dal bhat tarkari, and it is eaten sometimes even twice a day, and it consists of a lentil soup with spices alongside with some rice and a vegetable curry and most probably a flatbread like roti or chapati. The second type of cuisine based on the ethnicity is called this Himalayan cuisine, and obviously this covers the Himalayan region. So due to the cold temperatures, obviously typical for this area is the fact that they drink strong alcohol, they eat a lot of soups, and they have pretty greasy and oily meals. So that it will keep them warm. For example, they have this kind of tea which is called as butter tea, sometimes as pink tea as well, because it has butter and pink Himalayan salt added to it so that it will keep them from the cold and from the freezing temperatures. And also typical for this area is the fact that people eat yak meat. They eat a lot of yak meat. And the third type of cuisine is the NEWARI cuisine, and this is based on buffalo meat, a lot of relishes and pickles, and this again has a little bit of influence of Indian cuisine. So now that you know a little bit about Nepali cuisine, let's get started with the cooking. For the non-veg recipe, I have chosen something called as Chatamari. Chatamari is actually the Nepali pizza. It's not like a normal pizza because it consists of a rice flour pancake. So it has a rice flour dough, and it is topped with minced meat and an egg traditionally, but you can add whatever you want. So I just went on the classical version, but feel free to add everything you want. Anyway, the combination is super delicious and it's like super nice snack. So let's get started. For this recipe, we're gonna need 50 grams of rice flour, somewhere between 50 to 100 milliliters of water, some spices. I have half a teaspoon of coriander powder here, half a teaspoon of cumin powder, and half a teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste, approximately 80 grams of chicken minced meat, 1 tomato chopped, 2 tablespoons of coriander chopped, and 1 egg. In a hot pan, I have added a little bit of oil, and I'm gonna fry the ginger garlic paste until the raw smell disappears. Then I'm gonna add the chicken, and I'm just gonna crumble it like this because I want to get tiny pieces. So just crumble it. I have cooked the chicken for 2-3 minutes, and then I have added the spices and a little bit of salt. I'm gonna mix everything well, and I'm gonna cook until completely cooked. Meanwhile, we're gonna prepare the batter. So I'm gonna add water to my rice flour, mix everything well. I have added a little bit of extra water. It depends on the quality of your rice flour. So the batter should have this kind of consistency, like not too thick, not too liquidy. So back to our chicken, you can see that it's completely cooked. I'm gonna remove it from the pan. So now I'm gonna add the rice batter. Really important here, your pan should not be hot at all. And make sure you keep the flame on low the moment you add this rice batter. And while you're cooking it, you keep the flame on low. Otherwise it's gonna crack and it won't be nice. So I'm just gonna cook it with the lid on for about 3 minutes. After 3 minutes it looks like this. You can see that it's not sticking. So now it's the time to add the toppings. So I'm gonna add the chicken. I'm just gonna leave some space in the center because we're gonna add the egg there. We're gonna crack it. I'm gonna add the tomatoes. And now I'm gonna add the egg. It's not perfectly centered, but that's still fine. We're gonna cook everything until the egg is completely cooked. So this is how it looks like after approximately 3 minutes. I'm gonna add some salt and pepper now, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna increase the heat considerably for 1 more minute now at the end so that the pancake will get completely cooked. So this is my chatamari. This is how it should look like. You can see that it's completely cooked. You can add whatever you want on it. It's super quick and delicious snack. For the veg recipe, I have decided to cook a soup which is called as Thukpa. Thukpa is a soup which is cooked in the entire Tibetan region. It is typical for this area because it's a heartwarming soup and it's super nice to have when it's cold outside. So obviously because of the freezing temperatures, as I was telling you earlier, they eat a lot of soups. So Thukpa is one of the famous soups which is eaten there. So we're gonna make a veg one, and if you want, feel free to add meat. You can add chicken or you can add whatever you want. But I have decided to make it veg because it's really delicious like that as well. It contains a paste, a spice paste, which gives an amazing flavor and a lot of heat, I would say. And it has some rice noodles and vegetables as well. It's a super nice combination. It's super delicious. So let's get started. For this recipe, we're gonna need 1.5 liters of vegetable stock, 50 grams of rice noodles, 2 tablespoons of fresh coriander chopped, and for the spice paste, we're gonna need a tomato which has been peeled, and 1 whole red chili which has been finely chopped, and 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. And here I have the spices. So I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of hing, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, and 5 to 6 peppercorns. Here I have 1 red bell pepper which has been chopped, and here I have 1 big carrot which has been chopped, and optional some lime for serving. I'm gonna start by toasting all the spices in a small pan to release their flavors. And now I have added them to the mortar and pestle because we're gonna make a fine powder out of it. So I'm just gonna pound them until I get a nice powder like this one. So you can see that they have turned into a nice powder. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna leave the powder aside, and I'm gonna move the chili in the mortar and pestle because I'm gonna pound this one now. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt because that's gonna help while pounding it. So you can see that I have minced it as well. Now I have added the tomato. I'm gonna add the ginger garlic paste next, and at the end I'm gonna add the spices. So I'm gonna start preparing the soup. I'm gonna add the paste to a hot pan in which I have added 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm gonna cook it until all the liquid from the tomato has disappeared. After 2 minutes, it looks like this. You can see that the paste is really dry. So I'm gonna add the vegetables, and I'm gonna cook everything with a little bit of water so that the paste won't burn for about 3 to 4 minutes. After 3 to 4 minutes, it looks like this. Now I'm gonna add the vegetable stock and I'm gonna let everything boil for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'm adding the rice noodles, which I have cooked previously. Make sure you cook them according to the package all the time. So I had cooked everything again for about 5 to 10 minutes. So now I'm gonna serve the soup, which is ready. It looks like this. It's super rich and it has a lot of flavors. That spice base really makes a difference. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the recipes and the cooking process. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this one, and see you next time with another episode and with another country. Bye bye.